Hi guys, Emily here. I love sourdough bread, but there are so many more things you can make with your sourdough starter. I have a really good sourdough starter. This was given to me. It's from 1912 and it started in Czechoslovakia. I just fed my sourdough starter so you can see little tiny bubbles in there. I put some of it back in the fridge and I'm keeping this to show you how to make sourdough crumpets. Yay! We can have crumpets in a spot of tea. You can use your discard, you can use unfed starter, you can use fed starter. It just needs some leavening. So whatever you use, you'll just have to play with the baking soda. That's our leavening agent that we're using. So since I just fed mine and I can see little tiny bubbles, I probably don't need as much as if you are going to just pull it straight from the fridge and use a discard or an unfed starter. So we are going to start out with about 1 cup of sourdough starter. I am not a stickler for measuring, so we're going to be close on our measurements, but not perfect. To this, we're going to add about a teaspoon of sugar, and then just a little bit of salt. I'm talking like maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then for our leavening, we are going to use baking soda. And I'm going to start with about 1/2 of a teaspoon. And then we'll just stir this. Let me get you a better angle at this. See how fluffy and light that is, and all those bubbles? Okay, let's go over to the stove. I got these crumpet rings on Amazon. They come in a pack of 8, so find somebody to share these with because you really don't need all 8. I have found that 4 is a great number because that's what I can fit in my big cast iron pan. I'm going to turn my stove on to medium. I'm going to take these rings and spray olive oil on the inside of the rings. The crumpets will come right out if you spray these. And you can be fine just cooking them with the spray residue that got on the bottom of the pan. But I like to hit this with just a tiny bit of olive oil in each one of these rings. And then you put about 1/4 of a cup in each one. You don't want to overfill it, but you want it to have some height. Yeah, that's about right. So we're going to make 4 big crumpets. Can you see those bubbles on the top? So it's kind of like pancakes. When all those bubbles pop, they'll be done. You can see where I didn't get the rings completely flat on the bottom. It's oozing out just a tiny bit. No big deal. I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on. They're looking really good. So this kind of steams them and gets the tops cooked so they're not doughy on the top. Let's take the lid off and see how we're doing. See how around the edges it's getting nice and done? Okay, let's go ahead and take the lid off. Look at those beauties. Look how perfectly golden brown that is. Take the rings off. Okay, on this side, it goes really fast because they're cooked all the way through. So you just need to get the other side just barely browned. Oh, and look at those bubbles. So that's what the crumpets look like. Do you see all those holes in there? Perfect for jam and jelly and butter. Let's get these plated up and see how they taste. I'm going to start with some butter. Look at that. And then I have some homemade raspberry jam. You can make these savory. I have made them before with a piece of ham and a piece of cheddar and an egg, and that was really good. It was like a breakfast sandwich almost. but today I'm having a sweet crumpet. So a little scoop of homemade raspberry jam, and then to finish it off, just so it's pretty, some powdered sugar. And that's our homemade sourdough crumpet. Let's give it a taste. Oh, look at that dripping down the sides. Mmm, still warm. And look at all those little air pockets in there. It's kind of like a cross between a pancake and an English muffin, is how I would describe a crumpet. Really good textures. It's so delicious, and it's a really good way to use your sourdough starter or your discard. And it's pretty easy. So start to finish, you're only looking at about 15 minutes to make sourdough crumpets. So it's a lot easier and less commitment than the bread, and it's so good. And these crumpets will last in the fridge. I put them in the fridge in a Ziploc bag, and we get them out for breakfast and just re-toast them, and they're good as new. I really hope you liked the crumpet recipe video, and I hope you make them to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.